The Globus Participants Guide is a very long document. It's so detailed so that you'll be able to jump in and out of it anytime you need to reference it. It's really rather a good document if you want to refer. However, here's the Participants Guide and my notes so that you'll be able to understand it more quickly and maybe when you're just driving around or doing something else. You are taking over the operation of a company that competes against rival companies in 4 market regions across the world for global market leadership in 2 product categories: action capture cameras and unmanned aerial view UAV drones. Your company's board of directors has charged you with developing a winning competitive strategy to capitalize on growing consumer interest in action capture cameras and UAV drones and improve the company's overall performance year after year. As a Globus participant, you should get to know the market, your company, and the cause-effect relationships affecting your operations. How the Globus exercise works. The Globus experience is a PC-based exercise that simulates the global competitive market for AC cameras and UAV drones. It allows you to apply what you have learned in business school and to practice making reasoned business-like decisions. You will make 21 decisions for year 6, 8 for each product, and 9 for cameras, and 8 for drones, involving assumptions about the competitive actions of rivals. There are also accounting and cost data to estimate and examine, and shareholder expectations to satisfy. Results of each decision period become available online 15 minutes after the deadline for each decision round. The reports provide essential information about each company's performance. You should use the practice round to become familiar with the software and the information provided before your management team's decisions start to count. The corporate lobby page functions as your gateway to all Globus activities. Take a few minutes to familiarize yourself with the features and information on your corporate lobby page. Your company's operations. Your company began operations 5 years ago and maintains its headquarters in Taiwan. It sells action capture cameras to multi-store chains and online retailers, as well as to local retail shops selling cameras or sporting goods equipment or outdoor adventure trips. The drones you will manage are much more sophisticated and multi-featured than inexpensive toy drones sold for recreational use. They are used by professional photography enterprises, movie studios, and TV stations to capture often stunning shots from heights and angles not feasible with handheld or tripod cameras. Insurance companies use UAV drones to document damage to homes and buildings inflicted by hurricanes, tornadoes, hail, and floods, and to expedite the process of paying claims. Fire departments use camera drones to monitor fires in large buildings. All companies begin the Globus exercise on an equal footing, with equal sales volumes, global market shares, revenues, profits, costs, product quality and performance, brand recognition, etc. In upcoming years, all companies will alter prices, product performance and quality, advertising, and other competitively relevant factors to boost the performance of their respective companies. This will result in substantially different cross-company unit sales volumes and market shares in all regions of the world. Bigger sales and market shares do not necessarily equate to better profitability and overall performance, as firms selling top-quality products at premium prices may well have smaller unit sales volumes and smaller revenues, yet greater profits and returns on investment. The company has regional facilities in Milan, Italy, Singapore, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Dallas, Texas, to support making efforts and warranty claims. The company assembles cameras and drones within 2 weeks of receiving an order and strives to ship an order no later than 2 to 3 days after assembly. The company has a staff of people engaged in product R&D. The company's Taiwan site has 2 buildings for assembling products, one for cameras and one for drones. Cameras are shipped to buyers anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks later, depending on a retailer's location and the means of transportation. Many countries have imposed imported duties on cameras and drones sourced from Taiwan. There are no import duties on either cameras or drones shipped to customers in North America. Each year, the company changes the specs for important components, adds, modifies performance features, upgrades the internal software, and introduces new and improved models to compete more effectively. The company's stock is traded on the NASDAQ exchange in the United States, and its financial statements are prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The worldwide market for action capture cameras. Worldwide unit sales of wearable or mountable miniature action capture cameras are projected to grow 6 to 8% annually for the next 5 years. Competition in the worldwide market for action capture cameras revolves around price, product quality, and performance, the number of models offered, advertising, sales promotion activities, and brand reputation. Worldwide unit sales of unmanned aerial view UAV drones are reliably projected to grow 15.5% to 17.5% annually during the years 6 to 7, 12 to 14% annually during years 8 to 9, and 9 to 11% annually in years 10 to 11, and 6% to 8% annually in years 12 to 13. While company managers have to deal with uncertainty, a forecast of 2% growth is a pretty good forecast. Competition in the worldwide market for UAV drones is centered on price, product quality, and performance, the number of models offered, the relative appeal of rival company websites, search engine advertising, and brand reputation. The World Digital Video Federation, or WDVF, assigns a performance quality rating to each company's line of action capture cameras based on an array of factors, including image sensor size, LCD display screen size, image quality, number of models, camera housing, editing sharing capabilities, and included accessories. Competition among rivals is likely to result in different PQ ratings for the camera offerings of different companies in forthcoming years. This is because buyers do not prefer to buy precisely the same quality camera with precisely the same performance features and pay precisely the same price. 3 years ago, the Global Alliance for Safe and Responsible Use of Commercial Drones was formed to lobby the government authorities to establish drone use regulations. 2 years ago, the Global Alliance released its first performance quality ratings for UAV drones. The PQ rating of a UAV drone is based on several factors, including the quality of the built-in action capture camera, the battery life, the number of rotors, the performance of the flight controller, and the number of extra performance features. As UAV drone technology advances, the PQ ratings of competing brands of UAV drones will quickly diverge, with some brands catering to buyers shopping for low-priced drones, having basic features, and a PQ rating of 1 to 3 stars, and others targeting buyers who are willing to pay well above average prices for a more full-featured drone. Action capture camera retailers are scattered across the world and include multi-store retail chains, online electronics retailers, and local retail enterprises that sell or rent these cameras. Multi-store chains account for the biggest percentage of action capture camera sales, with online retailers second and small local retailers third. Retailers typically carry 2 to 4 brands of action capture cameras and stock only certain models of the brands they do carry. Online retailers, however, are more amenable to purchasing low-volume brands of action capture cameras. There are 100 online retailers of UAV drones in each of the 4 geographic regions. If you offer to sell your drone models at a discount of 20 to 25%, more online retailers will purchase your drone models and resell them on their websites. People interested in purchasing a wearable video camera to record their action adventures do extensive internet research to educate themselves about the features, performance, and prices of different action capture camera brands and models. Most potential buyers of action capture cameras do considerable comparison shopping before deciding which camera to buy. They pay at least some attention to the media ads they see for various action camera brands and are inclined to wait until retailers have weekly sales promotions featuring discounted prices. Buyers of UAV drones do extensive internet research to educate themselves about the features, performance, and prices of different brands of UAV drones. The Global Alliance for Safe and Responsible Use of Commercial Drones website has detailed information about each drone brand. Potential drone purchasers do considerable comparison shopping before deciding which drone brand to buy. They pay at least some attention to the search engine advertising they encounter when browsing for information about UAV drones. Hitting the like and sub will let me know whether or not this video does any good. The competitive factors that determine AC camera sales and market share. The average wholesale price a company sells its camera models to retailers in each region is the most important price-related consideration affecting a company's camera sales market share. The bigger the percentage by which a company's average wholesale price is below the regional average, the bigger the positive impact on a company's camera's sales and market share in that region. However, a company's pricing disadvantage can be decreased or increased by its competitive standing on the other 10 competitive factors. Any company whose price to retailers is below the average prices of its regional rivals can widen its price-based advantage over rivals by having a competitive edge on some or many of the other competitive factors. When camera makers raise their wholesale prices to retailers in a region, this quickly translates into higher retail prices in the region because retailers mark up the wholesale price they pay camera makers by 50 to 100%. Action capture camera shoppers consider the widely available and much publicized annual PQ ratings compiled by the World Digital Video Federation to be a trusted measure of the performance and quality of competing brands of AC cameras. A company whose PQ rating is above the regional average enjoys an important competitive advantage. The buyers of action cameras in North America and Europe, Africa are more sensitive to cross-brand differences in PQ rating than are the camera buyers in Asia Pacific and Latin America. Buyers in North America, Europe, Africa, and the Asia Pacific will purchase the brand with the higher PQ rating, while buyers in Latin America and the Asia Pacific will purchase the cheaper priced brand. Companies offering a bigger selection of models than rivals enhance their company's competitiveness by giving buyers more opportunity to find a model well suited for their preferences. Advertising by camera makers strengthens brand awareness, pulls buyers into retail stores carrying the brand, and informs the public about the features and prices of a company's latest action camera models. The competitive impact of advertising depends on the size of your company's current year advertising budget. Rival companies can run from 0 to 20 week-long sales promotions campaigns annually to tout their action capture cameras. A company's competitive impact depends on the number of sales promotion events it has annually. Bigger discounts off of regular price attract more buyers than small price discounts. Therefore, the size of the discount off regular price a company offers during sales promotion events is a very crucial factor in determining the sales-enhancing aspect of its promotional campaigns. Companies that offer discounts below the regional average have a competitive disadvantage that negatively impacts the company's regional sales volume and market share. Companies that provide above-average amounts of retailer support gain a competitive edge in attracting retailers to stock their brand. Website product displays and information, side-by-side model comparisons, customer reviews, and after-the-sale product support are important elements in promoting buyers to visit a nearby retailer. Companies with more retail outlets in a region enjoy a competitive advantage over companies with fewer retail outlets because of the added display exposure and convenience to camera buyers of being able to buy a given brand at more locations. In the last 2 months of each year, camera retailers decide whether to stick with the camera brands they are currently stocking or whether to make some adjustments based on 5 considerations. Camera buyers find longer warranties more appealing than shorter warranties. Companies whose warranty period is below the regional average suffer a competitive disadvantage. Company image or brand reputation is based on the PQ rating for action capture cameras, UAV drones, and actions to display. The PQ brand image rating is based on corporate citizenship and conduct operations in a socially responsible manner over the past 4 to 5 years. Market research confirms that prior year company image ratings of rival companies have a moderately strong influence on the brand choices of camera buyers in the upcoming 12 months. Companies with prior year image ratings above the industry average have a meaningful competitive edge over rivals with below average image ratings. A company's average retail price affects its regional sales volume and market share. However, a company can partially offset or even totally overcome a price disadvantage if it has a competitive edge over rivals on other important sales determining factors. Price disadvantage becomes easier to overcome as a company's PQ rating rises further above the industry average, and the further a company's price to retailers is below the industry average in a geographic region, the easier it becomes to offset competitive disadvantage. When there are only minor differences in PQ ratings between drone offerings, Latin America and Asia Pacific regions will be more sensitive to price differences than North America and Europe Africa. Buyers worldwide consider the PQ ratings of competing drone brands to be one of the two most important factors in shaping their choice of which brand to produce and which brand to purchase. A company whose drones have a PQ rating above the industry average thus have an important competitive advantage. A company that sells drones with an above average performance quality rating can erode its advantage by charging an unreasonable price or having other subpar characteristics. When two brands of drones have slightly different prices and PQ ratings, buyers in North America and Europe Africa will purchase the higher PQ rated brand. Companies with an above average number of models enhance their competitiveness by giving drone buyers wider product selection and thus more opportunity to find a model that best matches their needs. Retailer recruitment and support budget covers the cost of calling on prospective online retailers, building a relationship with these prospects, and explaining the kinds and amounts of purchasing support the company provides. To gain additional sales volume through third-party online retailers, a drone maker must offer to sell its drones at an attractively large percentage discount off its own website price. The bigger the percentage discount offered, the greater the number of online retailers will agree to stock the merchandise. Search engine advertising is a means of attracting more drone shopper traffic to a company's website, and thereby helping to achieve a bigger unit sales volume and market share in a region. The time, effort, and creativity that a company puts into creating visually appealing displays of its various drone models, providing ample and useful information about each model's features, capabilities, and specifications, and making it easy for buyers to place orders and pay for their purchase. The companies with above average expenditures for website displays have a competitive advantage that positively impacts regional sales volume and market share. Shoppers for UAV drones find longer warranties more appealing than shorter warranties. Companies with prior year image ratings above the industry average have a competitive edge over rivals with below average image ratings in attracting drone buyers for a period of 1 year. Companies with weak brand reputations must improve several other competitive factors in order to increase sales and market shares above prior year levels. If they improve these factors sufficiently, they can turn a weak brand image into a strong brand image and competitive asset. The 11 competitive factors for action cameras have different impacts, with price and PQ ratings being the two most important factors. Brand reputation falls somewhere in between the weights for the most and least important competitive factors. Buyers are more influenced by price and PQ ratings than by search engine ads or efforts of rival companies to enhance their websites and market their drones at other online electronics retailers. The weighting of each competitive factor is not a fixed amount, and knowing precisely what weight each factor is assigned is not useful. When price differences between companies become smaller, the role of price differences in causing sales and market share differences becomes greater. Price, PQ rating, warranty length, and other competitive factors affect the company's unit sales market share in a region. The size of the differentials on each competitive factor determines how much a company's sales market share impact is. The more a company's brand appeal to buyers on a particular competitive factor is below the industry average in a region, the bigger the weighting impact of that factor in accounting for why its regional net sales market share is above or below the industry average. After each decision round, you can review a comparative competitive efforts report to determine how well your company's competitive efforts on each factor compares to the industry averages. This information puts you in a position to correct any important competitive disadvantages and to further exploit any competitive advantages. There are many competitive factors determining unit sales and market shares in the AC camera and UAV drone market segments. Employ a low-cost leadership strategy. Differentiate your company's cameras and/or drones from rival brands, and focus your company's competitive efforts on gaining sales and market share in those geographic regions where your company already has high sales or attractively large profit margins. And here we are about halfway through. You can see that even the Reader's Digest version is still lengthy. I recommence. Crafting a strategy to be competitively successful. There's a big window of opportunity for you to craft some version of the above strategic approaches, provided they are not overpowered or thwarted by even more potent strategic approaches and competitive actions efforts by rival companies. No one strategy for competing guarantees success because sales and market share outcomes are 100% based on the competitiveness and overall buyer appeal of a company's brand versus the competitiveness and overall buyer appeal of rival brands. Companies that are being outperformed by a company pursuing a surefire strategy are unlikely to passively accept competitive defeat and unconditional surrender. Managers of rival companies whose performance is suffering have strong incentives to aggressively pursue actions to boost the performance of their companies. The reasons for their underperformance are usually fairly obvious. Underperforming companies can launch a strong counterattack by reducing prices, increasing PQ ratings, adding models, lengthening warranties, boosting market efforts, and so on to improve their company's performance and narrow the competitive gap and performance gap between their brands and the industry leader. A potent strategy would enable a trailing company to overtake the industry leader and become the best performing company in the industry. Again, there is no unbeatable strategy for competing in the marketplace. What drives sales or market share, success or failure, is how well a company's camera or drone product line matches up with the overall buyer appeal and competitiveness of rival company brands. While winning attractive sales market shares in each region is important, it is not sufficient to produce the best profit outcomes. A company's net revenues must cover costs by an amount sufficient to produce a good to excellent profitability. If you take advice from prior participants in Glo-Bus or from sources you discover from internet searches, you run the risk of being off the mark or even dead wrong in helping you identify what levels of competitive effort are needed to compete effectively. Making decisions. There are 56 different types of decision entries and 17 entries involving assumptions about the competitive actions that rivals are likely to take. The decision support calculations are instantly updated with new entry, allowing you to see the profitable and probable impacts of each new decision entry on company performance. The first time you visit a decision entry page, take time to explore the page and digest all the information. The help sections provide detailed entry-by-entry guidance and decision-making tips. If you visit a decision entry page, the numbers in the entry boxes represent the decisions made in the prior year or the latest decision entries you and your co-managers saved while working on the current decision round. Product design decisions. The product design decision page involves deciding on the components, enhancements, and extra performance features to incorporate in your camera's drones, the number of models to have in each product line, and how much to spend on product R&D. All parts, product enhancements, accessories, and components needed for extra performance features are purchased from outside suppliers. Prior management elected to have a product lineup consisting of 3 action camera models and 2 drone models. However, adding more models introduced quality control difficulties that negatively impacted PQ ratings and warranty claims, and reduced the number of cameras that product assembly teams could assemble annually. In year 5, prior management spent $20 million on product R&D for cameras and $15 million on product R&D for drones. Substantial R&D spending is required to improve product performance, discover and test easier to assemble camera drone designs, develop new and improved models, and program more sophisticated software capabilities. The combination of current year spending and cumulative spending over time for product R&D improves a company's camera drone PQ ratings, reduces warranty claims and costs, and increases the productivity of PATs in assembling camera drone models. AC camera marketing decisions. The top of the second decision page shows the 7 market-related decisions your company will make for action cameras, and below is a section labeled Market Segment Statistics. These statistics are updated at the end of the prior year to reflect the year-end appeal of your camera models. All 7 marketing decisions, along with your company's PQ rating and number of models offered, will determine how competitive your company's camera products are with the camera products of rival companies. The accuracy of the on-screen projections of your company's unit sales and market shares depends on the competitive efforts of rival companies. The projections of your company's unit sales and market share in each region are of questionable validity because they are based on how your company stacked up against the prior year competitive efforts of rival companies. If you believe that your rivals are likely to alter their marketing efforts, enter your anticipated changes in the competitive assumptions section. Consult the historical data in the regional average competitive efforts section. Before you make any entries for the 7 marketing decisions, enter your anticipated updates of the industry averages for the 9 competitive factors. These updates will be easier to make in later years as more historical information becomes available. Even if you overestimate the strength of competition from rivals and end up with bigger sales market shares than were projected, your company will still assemble, ship, and sell the unexpected unit demanded, provided your company has sufficient idle workstation capacity to assemble the unexpected orders. Exchange rate adjustments are made because the company's business is one with potentially significant foreign exchange risks, and because the company receives local currency payments from buyers over the course of a year that must be converted into Taiwan dollars and ultimately into US dollars. To manage currency risks, the company has negotiated a long-term currency exchange agreement with the Global Community Bank that adjusts the net revenues the company receives on cameras sold to buyers in various parts of the world. The net revenue per camera the company actually receives from camera sales to retailers in North America, Europe, Africa, Asia Pacific, and Latin America is adjusted up or down for exchange rate changes between the US dollar and the Taiwan dollar. In order to sell cameras to buyers in Europe, Africa, the company provides price quotes in both the buyer's local currency and euros. Buyers agree to pay the local currency equivalent of euros per camera. If the exchange rate of euros per Taiwan dollar falls, then the company receives more Taiwan dollars in payment for the cameras sold and shipped to Europe, Africa buyers, and net revenue is adjusted upward. The Europe-Africa revenue adjustment is equal to 5 times the actual period-to-period percentage change in the exchange rates of euros to Taiwan dollars. The maximum exchange rate adjustments during any one year is capped at 20%. Adjusting revenues on sales to retailers in Latin America, Asia Pacific, and North America is handled in like fashion. You can pursue actions to mitigate the adverse effects of unfavorable exchange rate adjustments by adjusting sales and marketing efforts or by raising the selling prices. The real-world exchange rates at the beginning of year 6 and the beginning of year 7 will be used to calculate the exchange rate adjustments for year 7. The company's financial statements are reported in US dollars, and the accounting procedures are in full compliance with generally accepted accounting procedures. UAV drone marketing decisions. The top of this third decision page displays 6 marketing-related decisions for UAV drones, and just below it is a section labeled Market Segment Statistics. Enter a value for any of these marketing decisions to see the effect on projected unit sales and projected market share. The UAV drone marketing page shows price, cost, profit breakdowns flowing from the marketing decision entries and projected sales volumes in each region. The bottom of the decision page includes a section for entering anticipated changes in the industry averages. If you found the participants guide, even my short version, a little overwhelming, don't worry, I've got you covered with a shorter and more focused set of walkthroughs, tips, and strategy videos on the Business Simulation channel. Now back to the participants guide short version. It makes sense to enter anticipated updates of the industry averages for the 8 competitive factors in the competitive assumptions section at the bottom of the page, and to use the historical changes in the regional averages shown in the Regional Average Competitive Efforts report to evaluate the profit prospects of alternative marketing decision entries. If you overestimate the strength of competition from rivals, you will still have sufficient idle workstation capacity to fill unexpected orders from buyers, and you will enjoy the accompanying extra revenues and profits. Your task on this decision page is to determine which combination of your company's PQ ratings, number of drone models, third-party online retailers, and brand reputation produces the best overall competitive effort. Exchange rate adjustments are made for all of the same reasons as for action cameras and appear in the section labeled Price, Cost, Profit Breakdown, just under selling price. You can adjust sales and marketing efforts to account for favorable or unfavorable exchange rate shift, compensation, training, and facilities decisions. This page contains 4 decision entry fields for compensating workers engaged in assembling action cameras and 4 decision entry fields for compensating workers engaged in assembling drones. Annual base wage increases of 2% or more lead to higher levels of productivity, and cuts in base pay of 5 to 15% in any one year will have a major negative impact on PAT productivity. Quality incentive payments increase productivity and reduce warranty claims. The payments are divided equally among all PAT members and encourage PATs to propose ways to cut assembly and testing times while still accurately assembling and thoroughly testing each camera or drone after assembly. When team members fail to show up for work, the remaining team members must try to assemble units as best they can. To discourage absenteeism, prior management paid an $800 year-end bonus for each PAT member with a record of perfect attendance. You have the authority to discontinue the practice of paying a bonus for a perfect attendance or to raise the size of the bonus periodically as you see fit. The total compensation package of a company's PAT members is a major factor in the company's ability to attract, retain better caliber, more productive employees. PAT productivity is enhanced by training PAT members in better assembly techniques, post-assembly product testing, ways to reduce warranty claims, and overall productivity improvement. Product R&D expenditures, the number of models, and the compensation packages of camera PATs and drone PATs affect PAT productivity. Lower compensation packages for camera PATs and higher compensation packages for drone PATs boost productivity. PATs assembling action cameras produced 3,000 units annually. PATs assembling drones produced 1,500 units annually, but could produce 2,000 units annually if managers invested in attractive compensation packages, additional training, robot-assisted assembly methods, and more time-efficient flight testing. This decision page is devoted to decision entries and on-screen calculations that enable you to fill growing buyer demand for your company's cameras, drones by having PATs work overtime, adding additional workstations, expanding the assembly facility, and ordering robotics upgrades. Your company's AC camera assembly facility has space for 300 workstations, but only 280 workstations have been installed. You can add 20 more workstations at a cost of $125,000 per camera and $175,000 per drone. And the extra storage space can accommodate new workstations until a facility expansion is complete. Capital costs for new workstations, facilities expansions, and robotics upgrades are paid in full in the year they occur. Fixed assets are depreciated over 20 years at the rate of 5% annually. Two big camera drone assembly related decisions have to be made each year. How many new workstations to add and whether additional facility space for workstations is needed. The on-screen calculations can help you make these decisions. If your company's brand of cameras, drones, exceeds assembly capability with maximum use of overtime, you will definitely need to add workstations and/or workstation space to be able to fill all of the projected orders. If actual orders are less than assembly capability, the system will right-size the workforce or have PATs work overtime to satisfy buyer demand. The company maintains a list of skilled workers that can be trained in a matter of days to assemble cameras, drones at productivity rates equal to the company average. You can shift to robotics-assisted assembly of cameras and/or drones by installing a robot at each workstation. This will increase the capital cost of each additional camera workstation from $125,000 to $275,000, and each additional drone workstation from $175,000 to $325,000. A robotics upgrade will result in added annual maintenance costs of $9,000 per workstation, pushing the total maintenance cost per workstation from $6,000 annually to $15,000 annually. Corporate social responsibility and citizenship. This decision page concerns spending for charitable contributions, green initiatives, improved working conditions for plant personnel, and institution of a supplier code of conduct, and compliance monitoring of supplier factories. The image gains are minimal unless your company's actions are comprehensive. Finance and cash flow decisions. Going into year 6, your company has a B credit rating and a reasonably strong balance sheet, which should allow it to cover its interest and principal payments on loans outstanding at the Global Community Bank. Interest rates on short-term loans are tied to the company's credit rating and the going rates of interest in world financial markets. The interest rate on one-year loans for companies with an A+ credit rating is 4.5%. C-rated companies pay 11% interest on one-year loans. A company's banking arrangement with GCB calls for the company to be paid interest on any positive cash balance in the company's checking account at the beginning of each year. If the company overdraws its checking account, GCB will automatically issue a one-year overdraft loan. Analysts at independent credit rating agencies review the company's financial statements annually and assign the company a credit rating ranging from A+ to C. Your company's prior year and projected performance on these 3 credit rating measures is shown in the Finance's decision page. Finance decision entries should always come last in the decision-making process. To finance operations, the company may take out loans with 1-year, 5-year, and/or 10-year terms. One-year loans have the advantage of quicker debt paydown and smaller total interest costs, but also have the disadvantage of having to refinance the debt in the following year at perhaps less favorable interest rates. You may need to raise additional capital by issuing new shares of common stock to pay down debt or to pay for added assembly capability and/or robotics upgrades. The company's board of directors has established a 40 million share maximum on the total number of shares outstanding. You can try several what-if entries to see the effects on earnings per share, return on equity, and the amount of money raised. You can accelerate debt retirement by paying off 2 of the outstanding 5- and 10-year loans using excess cash on hand, new issues of stock, or proceeds from new loans. You have the authority to declare a dividend, subject to certain conditions, but projected total shareholder equity must always remain at or above $100 million after any and all dividend payments. Repurchasing shares of stock with cash on hand has the advantage of increasing earnings per share, returns on equity investment, and the company's stock price. The board of directors has reserved the right to limit the number of shares repurchased in any given year. Decision-making procedures. Co-managers can log on simultaneously and each be engaged in entering decisions. The microphone button connects teammates to audio mode, and the adjacent button enables collaboration mode. When a co-manager clicks the Save button, all of the entries on all decision entry pages are written to the Globus server. Coordination and consensus are strongly urged. Earnings per share should grow from 75 cents in year 5 to $1.25, $2, $3, $4.25 in year 9, $5.50, $7, $8.50, $10.50, $12.50, and finally $14.50 in year 15. Board members believe the company can increase its stock price from $12 per share all the way to $330. Your company's image rating is determined by your company's PQ ratings, your global market shares, and your company's actions to display corporate citizenship and conduct operations in a socially responsible manner. Board members believe that the company's performance targets for years 6 to 15 are reasonable and achievable, and they expect the company to achieve them. Reporting the results. When the deadline for a decision round passes, the Globus system sends an email notification that the results are ready. The Camera and Drone Journal contains a 3-page company performance scoreboard, a 1-page statistical overview of the global market for cameras and drones, and 2 pages of data comparing how certain costs and profitability measures for your company compare against industry, low, average, and high benchmarks. A set of company operating reports consisting of 1 page showing assembly and facilities operations, 1 page detailing action camera business, and 1 page with financial statements. You should review the 3 reports when you receive email notification that the results for a round are ready, and you may find it advantageous to have printed copies of the reports during decision making. To improve company profitability, you should evaluate how well your company fared on the company performance scoreboard. Review the benchmarking data, carefully scrutinize the information on all 4 pages of the Comparative Competitive Efforts report, and make informed, updated competitive assumption entries on the AC camera marketing and UAV marketing decision screens. Your instructor has weighted 5 scoring variables and assigned points for each. The company's performance is measured using 2 different scoring standards. Scoring your company's performance. The Investor Expectations Standard is a scoring standard that measures your company's success in meeting or exceeding 5 expected performance targets. Meeting each target is worth some percentage of 100 points, and beating a target is worth a point award of 0.5% for each 1% exceeded. If you exceed each performance target by 40% or more, you will receive 24 points. The Best in Industry standard is based on how your company's performance compares to the industry's best performing company on EPS, ROE, stock price, and image rating, and to the ultimate credit rating of A+. The procedure for assigning best in industry scores for credit rating is a bit different. A company must have an A+ credit rating and achieve the investor expected targets for EPS, ROE, stock price appreciation, and image rating. After each decision round, you can review all company performance scores for both the investor expectations and the best in industry standards, along with an overall game-to-date score for each standard. Important advice. In making decisions, you are strongly encouraged to manage your company in a serious professional manner. Avoid trying something risky, managerially irresponsible, or unbusinesslike, as this can result in poor company performance. Following the advice of friends or acquaintances about how to win the Glo-Bus exercise, or relying on tips from internet sources carries significant risk of being wrong or off the mark. You need to use the information in the Comparative Competitive Effort report to learn how your company's brand of cameras, drones stacks up against the attributes of rivals' product offerings, anticipate rivals' next moves, and make competitive moves and decisions that you believe hold good prospect for delivering good profitability. Stay on top of market and competitive conditions. Price and market your brand of cameras, drones, and operate your company cost efficiently. When the exercise is over, the Globus system will declare whose decision entries produced the best results. Globus is a hands-on, learn-by-doing exercise designed to help you apply basic strategy concepts, use the tools of strategic analysis, and craft strategies to successfully lead your company in a globally competitive marketplace. Globus ties together material from earlier business courses to give you a better understanding of how all the different functional pieces of a business fit together and how to create a cohesive strategy. The numbers-oriented nature of Globus helps you gain command of all the numbers that surround the tasks of managing a company's operations, and helps you appreciate the importance of basing decisions on solid numbers instead of the quicksand of I think, I believe, and maybe it will work out okay. Provide valuable decision-making practice and help you develop better judgment. It will test your ideas about how to run a company and get prompt feedback on the caliber of your decisions. Watch this one next.